Hello, I'm doing a movie review, and the movie I want to review is Batman Forever. Now, Batman Forever came out in 1992, and it is the third film in what is now known as the Tim Burton / Joel Schumacher Batman series. Called that, of course, because the first two movies were directed by Tim Burton, and the last two movies, which are this movie and Batman and Robin, are directed by Joel Schumacher. Now, I believe Tim Burton was originally going to direct this movie, but because of how dark Batman Returns was, like, parents took their kids to go see the movie, and apparently it scared the little kids, so, like, parents complained about that movie, and so, because of that, they ended up giving the directing job to Joel Schumacher. And Joel Schumacher is a talented director. He directed movies like The Lost Boys. He went on to direct movies like 8mm and Phone Booth, and he is a very talented director, but I'm not a big fan of his Batman movies, and I know a lot of people aren't. However, even though I'm not a big fan of his Batman movies, and even though I'm not a big fan of this movie, I do respect this movie, because even though I'm not a big fan of it, because I don't really like the direction the movie's taken, I do respect it, because I do think it's at least a well-made movie, and I do think they tried with this movie. Like, I do believe, like, with this movie, they at least tried to make a good movie, even though I personally don't like it, because I don't really like the direction the movie's taken. I do think they at least tried with it. I do think they at least tried to make a good movie, and some people might find this to be a good movie. I know people who do like this movie a lot. Like, I have a friend who loves this movie and actually said that this movie is the whole reason he got into movies in general. And I used to love the movie when I was a little kid, but watching the movie now, I'm not a huge fan of it. Now, the plot of the movie is, it has two of Batman's villains in it. It has Two-Face, aka Harvey Dent, and the Riddler. Now, basically, the movie opens up where Batman tries to stop Two-Face, and in the beginning of the movie, Two-Face is already an established character. You do find out later in the movie that Two-Face used to be Gotham's district attorney, but then in court he got acid splashed on his face, and it scarred him and caused him to develop an alternate personality, and there is a brief reference in the beginning of the movie of how he has split personality disorder, but really they don't do the character of Two-Face justice in this movie, at least not in my opinion, because Two-Face is probably my favorite Batman villain. In my opinion, the best incarnation of Two-Face that I've ever seen in the adaptations is actually the Two-Face from the animated Batman series. Like, in that show, they really did, in my opinion, in that show, they really did the character of Two-Face justice, and then, of course, later on in The Dark Knight, I thought that Two-Face was good too, but, the Two-Face in this movie, I do not like, and that's really because, like, Two-Face is my favorite Batman villain, because, to me, Two-Face is a very tragic character. Like, he used to be an ally to Batman, and, then that thing happened to him where his face got burned, and he became a villain, and to me the character of Two-Face is almost like a symbol of lost hope in a way, and that's why Two-Face is my personal favorite Batman villain, but in this movie they do not do the character justice at all. Like, they could have done this character so much better, and the thing is, though, I understand they're trying to go for a more campy approach to it, which is why I personally think they should, if they wanted to do that, they should have chose a different villain besides Two-Face, because to me the character of Two-Face works much better in the darker incarnations of Batman. Now, Now the plot is, like, it begins where Batman tries to stop Two-Face, but, Two-Face ends up escaping from Batman, and, later on in the movie, Bruce Wayne is at a circus, and, he sees this family of circus performers called the Graysons, and, Two-Face ends up showing up, and he ends up killing all the Graysons, except for this young man named Dick, and what happens is Bruce Wayne ends up taking Dick in, and, and basically, what happens is, Bruce Wayne actually does kind of relate to Dick because, Bruce Wayne, like Dick, also lost his family, so he ends up taking him in, and Dick eventually finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and, he tries to convince Batman to let him join him, which, of course, Batman doesn't listen to him because one thing I do like about this movie is I do like how this movie does go a lot into the character of Bruce Wayne, and it touches a little more on Bruce Wayne's past, and it does kind of touch on how you kind of get the idea that Bruce Wayne really doesn't like being Batman, and probably one of the main reasons why he doesn't want Dick to join him is because he doesn't want to bring Dick into all this because he himself doesn't enjoy being Batman himself, and he doesn't want to bring Dick into this. And also, Dick wants to kill Two-Face to get revenge on Two-Face for killing his family. So, so I do like that aspect of the story, and Bruce Wayne is trying to convince Dick that killing him is not going to take the pain away. I do like a lot of aspects of that story, but overall I'm not a big fan of the movie. But of course, Dick ends up becoming Robin by the end of the movie. Also in the movie, another one of the main villains is the Riddler. Now, the Riddler in this movie is a scientist named Edward Nygma who, in the beginning of the movie, is obsessed with Bruce Wayne, and his obsession with Bruce Wayne, let's just say, makes Annie Wilkes' obsession with Paul Sheldon look like a freaking high school crush. And basically, Edward Nygma is inventing a machine that could essentially create like an virtual reality. Like, you could hook it up to your TV, and a person watching TV will actually feel like he's inside the television program. And and he tries to get funding from Wayne Enterprises, and he goes up to Bruce Wayne asking him about this, but Bruce Wayne says Bruce Wayne is too skeptical on the idea, so he doesn't really give Edward Nygma a straight answer. So essentially, this causes Edward Nygma to snap, and he ends up becoming a criminal known as the Riddler. Of course, nobody realizes that he is the Riddler, and and what happens is he somehow gets funding for his machine from somewhere else, and he sells his machine and actually gets really really famous. And but what he's actually doing with the machine is he's actually sucking the brainwaves out of people in Gotham City and absorbing them into his own head. And what happens is he ends up teaming up with Two-Face, and him and Two-Face go on a crime spree. Now, in the movie, Edward Nygma is played by Jim Carrey, and I actually didn't mind Jim Carrey as the Riddler in this movie. Because I'm not really that familiar with the Riddler from the comic books. Like, I never read any of the comic books that feature the Riddler, so I didn't really mind Jim Carrey as the Riddler in this movie. What was I gonna say? Now in the movie, Tommy Lee Jones plays Two-Face, and I already said that I'm not a big fan of the Two-Face in this movie, but I do think Tommy Lee Jones is a good actor, but but I don't really blame Tommy Lee Jones. I blame the script and the direction the movie was taken, but but the thing about Tommy Lee Jones playing Two-Face in this movie is that's kind of a continuity problem, because Harvey Dent showed up in the first Batman movie where he was played by Billy D. Williams, who was a black guy, so technically if they were following continuity with the first two movies, they should technically have Harvey Dent be a black guy in this movie. What was I gonna say? Now, in the movie, Val Kilmer plays Batman in the movie, aka Bruce Wayne, and originally Michael Keaton was gonna play Bruce Wayne in this movie, but he read the script and he did not like the direction the movie was taken, so he ended up dropping out of the project, and Val Kilmer ended up playing Bruce Wayne in the movie. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of Val Kilmer in this movie. Now, Val Kilmer, I haven't seen that many movies with him in it, but I did see The Doors, the Oliver Stone movie about the Doors, where he played Jim Morrison, and I thought Val Kilmer did a phenomenal job as Jim Morrison in that movie. But in this movie, Val Kilmer, I did not really like him as Bruce Wayne, or as Batman. He just, for some reason, kind of annoyed me. Even though I do like the characterization of Bruce Wayne in this movie, I didn't really like how Val Kilmer played him. What was I gonna say? And also in the movie, Bruce Wayne develops a love interest with this psychologist named Dr. Chase Meridian, who's played by Nicole Kidman in the movie. And and what's weird about it is, and this is another continuity problem, because in the movie, Bruce Wayne says to Alfred, "I've never been in love before, Alfred," and it's like, wait a minute, what happened to Vicky Vale from the first movie and Selena Kyle from the second movie? Then again, you could assume that this might not be following the same continuity as those movies, because Harvey Dent was black in the first movie, but he's a white guy in this movie. So some people might even go as far to say that that Joel Schumacher's Batman movies are really an entirely different series than the Tim Burton ones, but I still consider them to be the same series, because because you still got the same guy who played Alfred in the first two movies playing him in this movie, and then you got the same guy who played Commissioner Gordon in the first two movies playing him in this movie as well. I respect the movie, but overall, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, but I can see some people liking this movie. It's just, for me personally, the movie doesn't work for me. But that's it. That's my review on Batman Forever. Sorry if I'm kind of all over the place in this review. So now my next movie to review is Batman and Robin, which I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen that movie in years, so I'm gonna have to find a way to rewatch the movie. I tried looking for it on Netflix. I couldn't find it on Netflix, but I'm gonna try to find a way to rewatch the movie so I can review it. So, but it might be a while till you see that review. So, yeah, so that was my review on Batman Forever, and bye.